Hello, good evening, and welcome to Hot Edition, your hottest 1 hour on radio. We are live around the world on 3news.com and also streaming on our Facebook page. Coming up this evening, minority demands immediate suspension of revenue assurance contract between the Finance Ministry and a private firm, SMG Limited. We have details of that story for you in a jiffy. Also this evening, President Akufo-Addo clarifies decision not to assent criminal offences amendment bill and two others, citing potential financial impact and violation of constitutional provision. And later in the bulletin, the Electoral Commission says it is ready to conduct the district-level elections across the country on Tuesday, which is just a few hours from today. We'll give you details of all of what the EC has been saying and preparations across the country right in the next few seconds. Do stay with us. This is Hot Edition, hottest minutes on radio. Let's settle for the details now. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. The minority in Parliament wants government to cancel its revenue assurance contract with Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited, SML. And this call comes in the wake of a publication by the Fourth Estate which probed the company's work and why government was paying it 24 million Ghana cedis every month for work that is being done by other agencies. Let's listen to excerpts of the report put together by the Fourth Estate.
The Fourth Estate also confronted the managing director of SML with the figures the company churned out as savings it made because of its operations. First was the claim in April 2021 that SML saved the state 1 billion Ghana cedis due to its operations.
If you use the 2019 as a base,
yes, yes.
Subtract this one, you get 1 billion for 2020.
It's 800 million.
Okay, about 800 million. Okay.
Yes.
The company started operations in 2020. From the revenue figures we obtained from the GRA, the difference in the total revenue from the downstream petroleum sector between 2019 and 2020 is 800 million cedis. If all the increment was attributed to the work of the company, it will still fall short of the 1 billion cedis it claimed to have saved. In February 2023, SML Ghana Limited again claimed that it had saved 3 billion cedis due to its operations. The company has admitted the services it listed on its website as curtailing irregularities in the sector did not exist and deleted them from the website. Even if SML was carrying out those services and all the incremental revenue within the period of its operations was credited to the company's efforts, the amount would be 2.4 billion cedis and not 3 billion cedis as it claimed to have saved. When we put these figures to the managing director, he made a shocking admission.
That's why that 3 billion, I'm not. That's why I told you from the beginning. I said I don't know about this 3 billion.
We cannot say your intervention saved 3 billion.
No, I said 3 billion. I'm not. I've told you that I'm not aware, because when we were told about the publication, we even called it.
As we speak this morning, still on your website.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In fact, to be honest, I don't even know. Website matter.
All right, so those are excerpts of the investigative piece put together by the Fourth Estate, and you heard the voice of the managing director of SML Ghana Limited in that interaction with the managing editor of the Fourth Estate, Manasseh Azure-Awene, who was one of the investigators who put out this piece. And we actually met up with him or caught up with him and asked him what response he has got from the officials concerning the deal.
Responses have been so far from the MPA, GRA, We haven't got the Ministry of Finance, which appears to be spearheading this contract, to comment yet. But the MPA is very clear that what was in place before SML was engaged was enough to curtail the losses of the past. We got similar responses from officials from the GRA that we interviewed in the course of this investigation. So it remains a mystery why this company was engaged, when in all of this, nobody can point to any of the specific problems that were identified in the sector before SML came on board, namely diversion, dilution, underreporting, and even with companies selling petroleum products and absconding with taxes and then revenues.
That is Manasseh Asiedu-Dartey. Now, the minority has also been speaking on the matter, and very soon we'll hear from John Jinapor, who is a member of the Finance Committee in Parliament and also MP for Yape Kosogo. He says the deal must be cancelled pending a probe.
Indeed, the minority has discussed this topical issue, and we'll be moving processes in Parliament to ensure that there's full-scale investigation. Because we do not believe that there's value for money. This contract is a rip-off. This contract only ends up filling the pockets of greedy politicians and individuals, because just a couple of weeks ago, the Mines and Energy Committee visited NPA, and we were made aware that they've put in place enough systems, enough mechanism, enough infrastructure to ensure that all the loopholes, all the losses are safeguarded, and that they've even hooked up with the Ghana Revenue Authority to ensure that all those assurances are catered for. And so the question is that why would you need this? Even more importantly, it's turned out that the so-called 3 billion savings was nothing but a hoax. We cannot allow the taxpayer to be burdened on such unnecessary contracts. That only go a long way to fill the pockets of individuals. And so we would advise that immediately that contract is suspended.
And that is John Jinapor, who is a member of the minority in Parliament and MP for Yape Kosogo, and also on the Finance Committee in Parliament, asking for the deal contract between SML and the Ghana Revenue Authority or the government of Ghana be abrogated. Let's go to the phone lines now. Joining us is private legal practitioner Martin Pebu. Mr. Pebu, a very good evening to you. Thank you for your time.
Good evening. Evening.
Right. To start with, I'm sure you followed this particular story, another contract scandal. Well, it's early days here, but it looks as though there aren't enough answers to the many questions that are being asked. What are your initial thoughts on this particular saga?
Yeah, a scandal it is. Don't be reserved at all. Like you said, there are not sufficient answers. When I looked at it, I said, hey, is that Tama on steroids? 2015, 2016, when these were in opposition, they listened, they'll be making a Kufuado and his cohort. Hey, Mama is corrupt. Mama is corrupt. Now look at them. Huh? And Finance Minister even extended the contract that should go into the oil and gas sector. Even further give the company about $100 million a year. Such corruption. Oforiatta must go. Oforiatta must go. Huh? What kind of due diligence did he do before extending the contract to cover oil and gas sector? Is it because he would also benefit? You can ask all manner of questions. That's the same way they ask questions to come into office. Those days, they thought they were just doing it for Ghana. It turned out they were doing it for themselves so that they will come in and also chop. Because, now, Voyata is in office, and through his being finance minister, he's made money from our bonds. It tells you, this contract tells you that the money from the bonds is not sufficient. That's how come he's extended the SML contract to cover the oil and gas sector so that they can make, $100 million a year. Hey, Oforiatta. Oforiatta will kill us.
Right, but Mr. Pebu, as it stands, a company that has been operating since 2017, 2018, 2019, in fact, right up until currently 2023 is running out. So it means this whole year they've also been operating. What probable legal steps can be taken against them if it does turn out that they have been operating and helping, according to them, save the country money, which is actually turning out not to be true?
Yeah, so what investigations so far of what has been done, the investigations by OSP are further confirmed. It's possible we see corruption offenses. It's also possible we will see causing financial loss to the state. Causing financial loss, it's not OSC who will prosecute those. It will be Attorney General. So you're looking at corruption-related offenses. Then you're also looking at, causing financial loss. And I'm sure possibly there could even be more. But right now, the most important is that, I don't know if I missed that side before you came. So far, the investigations have revealed that the SML contract, they don't add anything to the value chain. They told lies that their activities have reduced underreporting, diversion, etc., right? And dilution of products. But when Manasseh and Co. confronted them, then they had to delete all those things from their website, meaning that they accept that they had been lying. Furiata went to extend such a contract to cover the oil and gas sector. So already, the first fruits are that we name and shame them that Furiata is sleeping on the job. We pray that the evidence will unravel the other sinister things that we are suspecting. But so far, it shows that as a full minister, how do you go extending such a contract without first doing due diligence? If it was your private money, if it was your private money, is that how you spend it? Just extend the contract to cover oil and gas. Where is the due diligence report? What informed that extension? What results did these people show that they have brought in before you extend it to oil and gas? You see, when it's government money, we spend it anyhow. When it's your private money, is that how you spend private money? That's how you spend private money. Those are the questions we begin to ask them. Look, and it doesn't even matter that, sometimes the investigation sometimes may not even lead to court immediately. But so far, as citizens, with what we've also read, we can ask Ofuriata legitimate questions. Is that how you would have spent his private money? That you just increase a contract, extend it to oil and gas? Where is the due diligence? What results did they bring here? Even if they showed, the results don't add up to anything. In opposition, they're grandstanding and talking rubbish. Today, you see.
And finally, And finally, before you take leave of us, that would then mean that since there are corruption or corruption-related concerns being raised here, the OSP must take interest in this subject, no?
Absolutely. What I've read, I don't know if you've seen it. Manasseh and Asiamo Mensah, they've reported the case to the OSP. And I've seen, at least on their website, the fourth state, I saw a receipt showing that the OSP, Jabin, acknowledges receipt of the petition. So they are going to investigate it. It's a shame. So,
Mr. Kwebu, thank you so much for your time as always, and certainly we'll see how this particular issue also plays out, as the special prosecutor, we're told, has also taken interest in it. And if you've also been following, what are your thoughts on it? Do let us know, share it with us on our social media platforms, and let's have a conversation on this particular issue, which falls right in line with the national clarion call in fighting corruption. Is this an interest of a subject to you? Share it with us. We'll be happy to let the rest of the world know what your thoughts are. This is still Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We are moving on to some other stories. Now, you would recall that the President, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, was expected to sign a bill into law after Parliament had done its due diligence. Now, the President wrote a letter back to the House raising a number of concerns. So let's go to that story now and then, interrogate the specifics of what exactly it was the President raised as concerns to him and his government, for which reason he is yet to append his signature to the law, to the bill that had been sent to him. So President Akufo-Addo has clarified his decision not to assent to the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill 2023, the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill number 2, 2023, and the Ghana Armed Forces Amendment Bill 2023. The President, in a letter to Parliament, explained that his decision is based on the potential financial impact on the state's consolidated fund and a violation of Article 108 of the Constitution. In a letter to Parliament, President Akufo-Addo said that the private members' bill would have to be reintroduced to Parliament in due course on his behalf. And so what are some of the specific reasons captured in the President's letter to Parliament? Let's try and get some understanding of it. Joining me in studio now is my colleague Dennis Puaberi-Wedam, who is also with our research desk. Dennis, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. First of all, can you give us a brief background into this particular story in the first place?
Well, so the President officially has now notified Parliament by way of a memo to indicate why he's unable to assent to the Criminal Offences Amendment, which has to do with the anti-witchcraft, which is popularly called anti-witchcraft bill, and then the Armed Forces Amendment bill. Now, when you look at the essence of those two bills, they seek to, one, there's been a conversation about taking the death penalty off our statute books. Mm-hmm. So the amendment in the Armed Forces bill essentially seeks to take that death penalty out of the bill. The one that has to do with the anti-witchcraft bill is to criminalize witch hunters and those who abuse people. They call them witches and all that. So that is the basis of it. The bills have gone through Parliament. They have been approved by Parliament. Now, the President says that he's unable to sign those bills because he has found some constitutional violations. And if he signs to those bills, they, in a way, would be a violation of the Constitution. He makes specific references to some portions of the Constitution, especially Article 108, which says that even though private members are allowed to introduce bills into Parliament, mind you, these bills were introduced by private members. And when we say private members, it means that it's a member of Parliament who has introduced the bill on his own accord. The general rule is that all bills must be introduced by the President or on behalf of the President. So that's how come you usually see that a government member is introducing a bill in Parliament on behalf of the President. In this case, this bill was introduced by the Member of Parliament for Madina constituency, Xavier Sosu. Now, the bills have gone through the process. The President says that I'm unable to sign because these were private members' bill and that they have financial implications on the consolidated fund, which is an exception under the Constitution, under Article 108, that a private member's bill cannot have financial implications on the consolidated bill. Now, this memorandum tries to explain how these bills will have financial implications on the consolidated fund. Mm-hmm. One, that because we are trying to take out the death penalty from our statute books and to replace it with life sentence or life imprisonment, it would mean that we need money to keep these people in prison for as long as they will be there. That money is going to be charged on the consolidated fund. The other leg of criminalizing the witchcraft activities is the fact that now we are creating an offense that will ultimately put people into prison. In that case, we still need money to keep these people in prison, to take care of their healthcare needs, sustenance and all that. So because of that, it ought not to have come under a private member's bill. And that even though legislative power is vested in Parliament under Article 93, they ought to exercise that legislative power within the Constitution, because obviously that's what Article 93 provides. So within that remit, the President says that no, he's unable to assent to the bill, and that in due course, the bills will be reintroduced under his name or on behalf of him. So essentially, that's the crux of the whole matter that we're having to deal with. So as it stands now, the anti-witchcraft bill has not been assented to. It's not law yet. Likewise, the amendment that was intended to be made to the Armed Forces amendments. Yeah, and also to the Criminal Offences Amendment Bill as well. Precisely, 2. Yes. Okay, thank you very much, Dennis Puaberi-Wedam, who has been following this issue closely for us with the President's latest responses. He actually has also been bringing us what the President's reasons are for which he says that he cannot append his signature in bringing these bills into law yet. And so we would have to wait a few more, probably the next Parliament, because the current Parliament has its plate full, has been already pushing a number of bills, and because of the
shortness in time, they are also looking for how they can conclude the bills they have with them before the House rises, even for the Christmas break, and subsequently when we get into 2024, hopefully next year, when Parliament resumes, amidst all the major political activities, the MPs go into their constituencies to campaign, etc., they may have to make time to also consider these bills, which many say is very essential to the general societal growth of the country. We'll let you know how all of this plays out in the coming days. This is still 3FM 92.7. It's the hot edition. On to some other stories now, and we're working the lines to get the thoughts of some campaigners for this anti-witchcraft bill to be passed into law. They have also raised, concerns as regards why the delay. Why is the president holding on to appending a signature after Parliament had done rigorous work on the bill? Well, the president has also raised a number of concerns which he says bothers on funding and financing. And our laws say anything, especially a private member's bill that is brought to the House before it is implemented, if it has any bearing on the consolidated fund, or the state would have to use its resources in running or implementing any private member's bill, Parliament may have to do further review of the bill. And that's where we are at on this. So when we do get the other key people who have a different opinion on it, would bring that thought to you in next few minutes. So I'm told that we have one of the advocates who were asking for the president, or at least this bill, to be passed much with the necessary urgency. Joining us on the phone now is Professor John Azuma, who is Executive Director for the Sane Institute, University of Ghana. He has actually been advocating for this anti-witchcraft bill to be, given the necessary attention. Well, it seemed to have hit some kind of a snag. Prof, a very good evening to you. Thank you for joining us on 3FM.
Good evening.
The president
and good evening to your listeners.
Right, the president of the Republic, in his letter back to Parliament, justifying why he didn't append his signature to the bill, says that, amongst other things, the state may have to incur some financial commitments, for which reason it may have to delay a bit more. What are your initial thoughts on the fact that the president has given reasons why he hasn't appended a signature to this bill yet?
Yeah. Thank you for the call, and thank you to your listeners. We are very regretful and deeply unhappy with this development. First of all, this bill was 3 years to develop. And during those 3 years, the presidency has been aware, every sector of government was aware, and nobody, both members of parliament from both sides of the house were aware, and both MPP, NDC, MPs took part in all the deliberations in drafting the bill, and we were aware of the financial implications on the consolidated fund and other public funds. So we took care to make sure that there was nothing directly that would be affecting, have implications for the consolidated fund or any public purse as far as the bill is concerned. However, the custodial sentence, which is what the president is talking about, is a natural part of every single bill. So I guess what the president is talking about is that there will never be a private member's bill with any custodial sentence. And that is not what the Constitution says. And so for us, we are very disappointed that the president is using technicalities to delay a bill that is affecting the vulnerable of the most vulnerable. The president goes on to say that he is proposing that the bill is resubmitted to Parliament on his behalf in due course. When is due course? That is our worry. So our worry has two main issues. The technicality that the president is invoking to delay this bill, which affecting vulnerable people, and also this due course, this vague reference of due course, doesn't bode well. It doesn't inspire confidence. It doesn't give us hope, let alone give the hope that is much needed to the victims of witchcraft accusation.
Right, but
so we are
Prof,
very disappointed.
Sorry for butting in here, but considering the concern that the president had raised, you see them as technicalities, and rightfully so. You have also alluded to the fact that 3 years on, this bill has been in Parliament. There's been a back and forth deliberations on it, and if any concerns were to be raised, like has been raised now, should have been raised much earlier to be incorporated in the general conversation around it. So that in itself is a concern, but the specific concern the president is raising about the fact that it borders on the fact that the state would need to expend some financial commitments or resources is legitimate, isn't it?
Yeah, for us, what is perplexing about this whole scenario is that, first of all, the government should have taken up this bill from the get-go. They were those who advised us that the bill cannot be sponsored by a government and that it has to be a private member's bill. It was Parliament, it was government agents that advised us. It was the former Speaker of Parliament who initiated that and said it had to be a private member's bill. So we were simply following advice of government institutions. And by the way, if the state cannot spend a single dime on the vulnerable of the most vulnerable to protect them, then what kind of country are we building for ourselves? What kind of legal system are we building for ourselves? Look, we, the CSOs, are not craving for credit for this bill. Our main desire, our main passion is the protection of the vulnerable victims.
Right.
If the president will resubmit the bill tomorrow, next week, for Parliament to pass it on his own behalf, we have no problem. The president didn't even state how they are going to go about the resubmission. The Ministry of Gender, we have covered every point in our process to work with them. We have been met with a dead end.
Right.
If the ministry wanted to submit this bill on behalf of the president, they could have done that long time ago. Okay. Why the delay? Why the stalling? This is our worry.
Okay. Those are legitimate concerns and worries you raised there, but we thank you that you've brought them. We'll see what Parliament does in the next few days. Thank you for your time, Professor John Azuma, Executive Director of the Sane Institute, University of Ghana, sharing their concerns on these bills that the President is yet to sign. He has written back to Parliament. We are waiting to hear the specific responses that will come from the House regarding this bill that seem to have gathered enough national interest. 3FM 92.7 is the dial. We are live around the world on 3news.com. That's our website. This is a hot edition. On to the next hot story, having to do with the fact that tomorrow we all, as a nation, as citizens, as those who have the right to vote, go to the polls to elect district level assembly members. Let's go specific to what the chair of the Electoral Commission has been saying. Tonight, the Electoral Commission says it is all set and equipped to conduct the 2023 district assembly elections, which come off tomorrow across all districts, with the exception of the Nkranza North and South in the Bono East region. Biometric verification devices, ballot papers have already been dispatched to and in enough quantities, as well as security arrangements made for Tuesday's major exercise. Here is Jean Mensah, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, who addressed the media a few hours ago, giving specifics of its readiness.
Is that all categories of election officials have been recruited and trained at the national, regional, and district levels to prepare them adequately for their respective duties. All our election materials and equipment required for the district level elections have been procured in sufficient quantities and dispatched to the various regions and districts. Ballot papers for the DLE have also been printed and dispatched to the various regions and districts under police escort. The final register of all 38,315 polling stations have been printed and dispatched to the various regions and districts. In total, 71,775 BVDs have been refurbished and deployed to the various regions and districts. Registered voters whose voter identity cards are missing can still go to their respective polling stations to cast their votes, since their particulars are already in the final register. We have also engaged extensively with the security agencies. In addition to that, we've also provided them a list of the flashpoint areas.
Now, the district level elections have been poorly patronized by the voter public in the last few sessions that it's happened in the country. This is the concern of the electoral management body, and says it strongly appeals to all eligible voters to make it a national duty to participate in tomorrow's polls to make it meaningful.
We would like to entreat all Ghanaians to go to their polling stations to cast their votes. We have put in place adequate arrangements, and we believe that the elections will go on smoothly and seamlessly without a hitch. Experience over the years shows that this election is not highly participated in, and we would like to entreat all Ghanaians and assure them that the Electoral Commission has put in place all arrangements, all necessary arrangements and modalities have been put in place for a smooth, incident-free election. Let us make this election meaningful. We are all aware that development starts at the district level, and therefore it is important as citizens that we have a say and a stake in who brings development at our various districts. Eligible voters, that persons with disabilities, the aged and nursing mothers should be given some preferential treatment at the polling stations. We do not expect that this category of persons will join long queues at the polling stations, and we entreat eligible voters to allow them to vote in a timely manner should they arrive at our polling stations. In addition, the Commission has provided tactile ballots, jackets, and ballot papers for persons who are visually impaired, and this is in no short supply across the country. Additionally, I would like to advise all voters to refrain from acts that will disrupt the peaceful conduct of the election. No ballot appears or goes to any electoral area without a stamp. With a stamp. The stamping of ballots is done at the polling station. The ballots are not stamped before they are sent to the polling stations.
Jean Mensah is the chair of Ghana's Electoral Commission. So the clarion call is that tomorrow, let's all turn up in our numbers. If you are eligible, do go out and vote. However, there have been concerns about the total voter turnout for district level elections over the last few years. A study has revealed that the majority of the contenders vying for the position in the district assembly elections are associated with either the governing New Patriotic Party or the main opposition, the National Democratic Congress. The study conducted by the Center for Decentralization Advocacy showed that of the 18,755 aspirants who filed to contest, only 1,435 contenders have no political affiliation or are associated with different parties. According to the report, the polls is heavily influenced by the two dominant parties who invariably select the candidates they want to stand. Let's go to the phone lines now. Joining us is Dr. Frederick Oduro. He's a local governance expert and consultant. He's joined us. Doc, a very good evening to you. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, Martin.
Is it good or bad that we have the two main political parties dominating our very local level elections?
Well, it is bad to the extent that the legal framework does not allow political parties to participate in the election. But I think this is even helping to boost the numbers of people who may turn out to vote. The participation of the political parties is going to help in the turnout, which I do expect to be very low anyway, notwithstanding the fact that legally they are breaking the law by actively participating. But I think we should remove that barrier and allow the political parties to actually openly support and sponsor candidates for this kind of election, because the level of to which the numbers are going down, or we're not getting the numbers up over the period, tells us that unless we begin to do something about our system, we're going to get to a point that nobody is even going to bother to turn out to vote.
And Doug, is the only thing that, like you're suggesting, we need to do to whip up local interest or general interest?
Absolutely not. There are other things. Quite a lot of other things I believe we should be doing.
Okay, so before we come to some of the other things, you recall that the president was hoping that we would vote through the referendum to allow political party participation at the local level. Did you support that call? As in, was that a good call the president was making?
Personally, I supported that call, and I still do believe it is a good call. But like all political discussions in this country, if we do not work at removing entrenched partisan stance on it, we will almost always end up not achieving anything. Because if we make it like it is the MPP which believes that we should do this, and we go in for a referendum and the MPP wins, it will look as if the NDC has lost out on an issue. But we must present it as an issue that is necessary to enhance the effectiveness of our local governance. Because we've done this system for about 35 years now. And if we ask ourselves in this country, even if we are looking at purely turnout in elections for local level elections, evidence shows that it's never been going up, with the exception of the first time we had it. And this was pre-democratic era. That was 1998-89, when we had the first one, that the turnout was quite significant. But at that time, people have been starved of voting and all that. So people felt, look, as an opportunity to express my views on who represents me.
Right.
But post 1992 Constitution, the numbers have been going down. So it should tell us that if we really want the system to work, there must be a national discussion about how do we improve this. I am of a firm belief that political parties are effective vehicles for mobilization for political purposes. So why don't we allow them? Okay. And as for instance, if you go into the assembly, before this, this survey or this study that has come out, go into any assembly, the current assembly members, you go into any assembly and you find out that they have NPP and NDC caucuses within the assembly.
Okay.
These are not, officially sanctioned position taken out there. But the reality is that is what exists in the assembly.
Okay.
So sometimes they even negotiate as to who becomes the presiding member and all those things. But give this one to our side, otherwise we'll not vote for your, your chief executive. So they even make compromises. They cut deals at the assembly level as to some of these things, purely based on partisan stance.
Okay, Doc,
but we sit outside the assembly and we behave, it's a non-partisan institution. It is a really, really partisan institution. And the earlier we begin to look at how we can make the political parties effective tool within the local governance system, I believe, the better it will be for our system.
Right. And finally and briefly, what are the other major things, probably just two of them that you think we can do?
One of the things is to do with the low representation of women. If you go into the assemblies, as things stand now, less than 10% of assembly members in this country are women. But women are the majority of the citizens. They are more than 50%. So if you have a majority of the citizens, that's women, who have representation of less than 10% within the assembly. I mean, I'm sure if we were to conduct an effective survey, we'll come to realize that people who turn out to vote, women are the least number of people who turn out to vote during the local level election. Another thing is also to do with, you see, people do register to vote. Sometimes some people choose to vote in their hometowns and faraway places. Some have moved from where they were since the last election. Now, when you are going to select assembly members for an electoral area, the appetite is not there for people to travel and go and vote on these bases. So all those things are working against. And finally, let me just chip in the fact that the days we choose to conduct our elections are also not helping us. On a day, tomorrow is a working day. I mean, if you look at the private sector, and even those who are self-employed, a lot of people will ask themselves, why should I stop my work and go out to vote? So all those things are factors we should be discussing.
Certainly.
Before we get to this level.
Doc, unfortunately, the time is too close to even further this kind of conversation to whip up more interest. But better late than never. Let's see how tomorrow plays out, and certainly we'll be engaging you further on the way forward. Thank you for your time this evening.
You're welcome.
Dr. Frederick Oduro is a local governance expert, helping us, put into better perspective what the expectation is ahead of tomorrow, as hundreds or probably millions of Ghanaians are expected to turn up tomorrow to vote for the district level elections. Do go and vote if you are eligible. On that note, would want to turn our attention to what's happening in the world of business, and Michael Ugbodu is with us. He'll be giving us details in a jiffy. This is Hot Edition 92.7.
Hello there, welcome to the business segment here on Hot Edition. Coming up this evening, International Monetary Fund IMF postpones board meeting for second tranche external credit facility disbursement to Ghana to January 11, 2024. I am Michael Ugbodu. We'll bring you the details of that and many others shortly. Stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. Straight into our top story now, and the International Monetary Fund IMF has rescheduled the board meeting to review Ghana's second phase under the fund program and the release of some $600 million now to January 11, 2024. This is according to sources close to members of the Official Creditor Committee engaged in negotiations with Ghana on restructuring the nation's debt with bilateral creditors. The following News Desk report has the details.
A draft memorandum of understanding from the Official Creditor Committee, OCC, would have been issued by now, but concerns from one of the members have caused a delay in this action. The IMF board was expected to meet on Ghana's program for the second review in November 2023. However, the challenge in reaching an agreement with China on the debt restructuring compelled the fund to reschedule the date on two occasions, in the first week of December 2023 and December 21, 2023. Meanwhile, these sources highlight significant progress made by Ghana with its external bilateral creditors, particularly China, in restructuring the bilateral debt. Additionally, 3 Business has learned that China, a co-chair of the OCC, made substantial progress last week regarding the proposed terms for restructuring Ghana's bilateral debt. The IMF's decision on the new date is based on these positive developments, with expectations that all outstanding issues will be addressed before the meeting.
So that was a 3 Business News Desk report. Now, away from that, the Deputy British High Commissioner to Ghana, Keith McMahon, has emphasized the critical importance of investing in infrastructure, highlighting tourism as a pivotal economic catalyst to Ghana's future growth. This report has the rest of the story. The Deputy High Commissioner stressed that the growing tourism sector is anticipated to draw increased numbers of visitors to the country, necessitating a corresponding rise in essential amenities. McMahon elaborated on this need for infrastructure development during discussions with the media at the launch of the Ghana Property and Lifestyle Expo 2023.
I was speaking to Ghana experts, and they were hoping that tourism would be the next big thing for Ghana. So if that is the thing, and the government starts to want to invest more money and spend more focus on attracting people to Ghana because of its climate, because of its people, then you can maybe see more hotels being built. And obviously with hotels comes infrastructure. So hopefully, you build the hotels, you build the infrastructure, people will come.
Additionally, the event organizers shed light on the housing requirements of potential customers from the diaspora, providing further insight into the housing demands of this demographic.
The call to action has been with the type of properties. You come into Ghana, the skyline, you could be anywhere in the world. So I think the architecture, the quality, the finish, and the lifestyle services. You go into any development, you'll find a swimming pool, you'll find a rooftop bar, you'll find a gym.
Yeah, and it's bringing that community together. So
yes.
The gated community is not just you isolated, it's bringing a community together. And it's not just the diaspora, you've got new families developing in Ghana, new young couples that also want to be part of this investment journey and enjoying the nice, amazing architecture that is coming into Ghana.
So you heard the sisters Anne and Victoria Jakum, organizers of the Ghana Property and Lifestyle Expo, bringing an end to the business segment here on Hot Edition. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. I am Michael Obodu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe. Up next is sports, and Ureku is on standby.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on 92.7 TFM. My name is Oreku Ampofo, and we start off from the local scene where a Ghanaian footballer Yao Yeboah, who recently won the MLS Cup with Columbus Crew, says that the Black Stars can win the Africa Cup of Nations. The Ghana national team hasn't won a major trophy since winning the Africa Cup of Nations in 1982.
We have all the qualities to be there. We have all the qualities to win the AFCON. So we pray that, and we also hope for everything to go well as well, for the players and also for the country, and make sure that, yes, we can win.
So that was Yao Yeboah, who is currently in Ghana on a vacation after winning the MLS Cup with Columbus Crew. But let's look ahead. And one of the players who actually, or would most likely be in Ivory Coast playing for the Black Stars at the Africa Cup of Nations is Mohamed Kudus. But before that, his focus is on Wednesday's game against West Ham. Now he's coming off the back of scoring a brace against Wolverhampton Wanderers over the weekend. And he is looking ahead to the fixture at Anfield when they
play in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup?
100%. You know, we don't settle for that. We even expect a lot from ourselves because we believe you can do more than that. You know, there's still so many games to go. You know, so we just keep taking one game at a time, and then we'll get there.
And lastly, we go to Anfield on Wednesday and then Man United next week, but focus first on Liverpool. Some of your friends in that squad, but also a massive quarter-final.
Yeah. You know, titles are very important. This is an opportunity to go to the next round, the semi-final. So you saw the performance against Arsenal, and then it will be another tough game, but the boys will be up for it, and the win today is a lot of boost and good for the confidence, but we'll give our best any day.
Well, that was Mohamed Kudus. Liverpool face West Ham on Wednesday in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. But before that, on Tuesday, Pochettino's Chelsea would be facing Eddie Howe's Newcastle. And the Argentine coach says that definitely winning the trophy is one thing that is on his mind, especially early on in the season.
I want to win a trophy here in England. I want to lift the trophy now if we have the possibility in this competition, because I think it's important. Yes, my wish and my desire is to win, and that is one of the competitions that we are involved and it's possible. But of course, we need to respect our opponent. Newcastle is going to be tough. We need to deserve to go through to the semi-final.
So Mauricio Pochettino is confident that he can go beyond Newcastle and even win the Carabao Cup. That would be music to the ears of Chelsea fans. My name is Oreko Ampofo, and that's how we wrap up the sports segment here on Hot Edition on TFM 92.7. Up next is entertainment with Akofa.
Thank you very much, Oriku, for the sports update. You're still locked on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. It's now time for the entertainment news segment powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Akofa. Ardent followers of Globe Productions have every reason to be excited because another historical play is about to hit the theatre soon. Prolific playwright Lateef Abubakar is out with another fascinating literary performance, The Second Coming of Nkrumah.
Will theatre lovers be in for yet another thrilling festivities as the CEO of Globe Productions, Lateef Abubakar, gears up for his much-anticipated play, The Second Coming of Nkrumah?
No, you see, I'll go there, but I'll go protect you. I'll go take bullet for you.
The 1 hour and 45-minute production, which aims at promoting African unity, will see cast reenact roles of some founding fathers of Africa, with Ghana's first president, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, at the center of it all.
Look, if somebody must go back to Africa to economically emancipate the continent, then Nkrumah, it must be you. Even the blacks in the diaspora, Marcus Garvey, Martin Luther King, they were all saying, hey, Africa is crying for you. We wish that it can be possible so that whatever he started and couldn't finish, he would just come and finish. But it's up to, our present leaders to look at this and say that, hey, if he could not do it, let me continue from where he left off.
Running from the 27th to Saturday, December 13, The Second Coming of Nkrumah offers patrons top-notch entertainment with lasting impressions and memories of culture, heritage, and history.
I think that we need to continue to tell our story, use the art and culture to preach unity as our founders preached. That is the only way Africa can develop and progress.
Enough! How dare you describe me in such provocative...
Let's do some other stories now. Ghanaian rapper Medical had a successful concert that came off at La Palm Royal Beach over the weekend. Several musical talents, including Shatta Wale, J. Bard, Tulenke Siste Fia, among many others, joined Medical for an unforgettable music experience. Here are some highlights.
You're not baptized now.
His award-winning Ghanaian rapper Medical gave audience value for money at his planning and plotting concert. Concerts, which came off at the La Palm Royal Beach on Saturday, December 16, had a star-studded artist lineup who joined Medical on stage for an unforgettable musical experience. Artists included Shatawale J. Bad, Tulenke Kwamina MP, Sefia, among many others, thrilled patrons. Which events lined up for December in Ghana festivities in its full force. 3 Entertainments will bring you all the latest updates on TV and all our social media platforms.
And finally, the countdown for the hottest event this Christmas, the 3FM All-White Party is on. Join us in 10 days at the 3FM All-White Party on the 28th of December at the La Palm Royal Beach Hotel with exciting performances by Stoneboy, Manifest, Akwabwa, KK Fosu and DJs on rotation, DJ Faculty, DJ Abiam, we've got DJ Filter and so much more. Come party with your friends as a couple or come solo and have an awesome time. Select individual seats on any table or book a full table. We've got you covered. Call 0531100927 for your table or individual seat reservations. Now, and that will be all the entertainment news segment here on Hot Edition, powered by 3 Entertainment. My name is Akofa. Thanks for your time.
And that's how we bring the whole bulletin to an end. Thank you very much for staying with us right from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Let's make a date same time tomorrow with Hot Edition on 92.7 3 FM. My name is Martin Asiedu-Dartey. Have a good evening.